Alright, it is July the 5th, the day after July 4th, the holiday, and this is going to be the weekly recap of all the trades I made from, do I have this updated? I don't think I do, from the 28th, so I need to change that, actually, 6 to the 28th, and I need to change it here, did not do that. There we go, 628, is that right? 628, yep. And that is previously the 20, so I put the 28, so I put the 27th. Alright, doesn't matter. Okay, 27, and let's just do here 27. So again, this has to do with the idea of the week of the 27th to the 3rd, which is really the 28th to the 2nd, 5 days. And it's just going to be a recap of all the trades, which were 10 trades. Of those 10 trades, 6 were green. Now, I don't really know what to do with these that were just break even. They didn't cost me anything. It didn't make me anything. But anyway, I just put those 6 that were actually green. Even this one, which was tiny. I guess it kind of makes up these 2 that were basically break even, which means that my winning percentage was 60%. I like this so much because this has been a really big issue. Average dollar gain 12, average dollar loss 375. Didn't really have that many losers, only 2, but still I want to see this more. If I were to go back, you know, here average dollar gain is 8, 4, 6, 9. This was a red 1, 2, 5, 6, 5, right? It just seems like I'm getting better in that sense, and I think that's a really good thing. And what really shows it more, although sure not that much, is the percent gain. Average percent gain was 2.5. Average percent loss was 0.89%. Again, only 2 red trades, but still I want to continue seeing this. Average dollar gain position size was 500. Average dollar gain on a losing trade is about the same, so it doesn't really show much of a difference. Of course, again, only 10 trades and only 2 of those are red days, so this data here isn't really that important, but I think this part is important right here, just because everything else is kind of similar. And I was up 60 bucks last week, you know, profit loss, all of it combined, and I traded $4,000 of volume. So if I go back here, that is 1.47%, which is good. I mean, it shows that I traded $1,000 more and I was still profitable, but I want to see this again higher. I'd like to see maybe at least 3%. I'd like to see that. And in terms of the setup, so how many times did the setup work? Only one of them was like a huge yes. That one totally worked out. Seems like the first trade. 2 of them were yeses right here, and then I had 3 that were, 2 of them were eventually. One was a kinda. Ideally with these that it worked out eventually. It kind of evens itself out if perhaps maybe I had one that worked eventually and then I traded it when it was actually working, or maybe I just held on to it better. I guess I'll go over all the trades. How many no's? There were 4 no's actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, and yeah. Now, did I trade well? Seems really good here. I got like an 87, which is a B minus. 75, that's a D. I don't mind getting that D. Oh, and one more thing, compared to last week, I actually realized that I had it very aggressively structured. I did not have the math here right. It wasn't, one of these was an addition, not a multiplier, so it kind of threw off the formula. I have it fixed now. And now what I consider to be an A in terms of did the setup work, it's just you know, the amount of trades times yes. I can't assume every single trade. I try. The setup just works perfectly, especially if I'm trying setups. You know, it's going to be a lower score because I'm just trying to find what's working with me, what's not. And as for here, I just have this one. Did I trade it well? Times 4.5, which is between yes and a big yes in terms of how many points would each section be, because I kind of want to hold myself to a higher standard there. But you know, trading bad setups, that's just part of learning what works and what doesn't work. Overall, a pretty good week, but I know I could have done better. A lot of room for improvement, but I am getting better, I think. So I hope I can continue to be like that. And actually, let me close the window just so there isn't a lot of background noise. Alright, so at this point I'm gonna go ahead and review all the trades just so I can watch for myself, and I guess any of you guys watching here can just learn from another trader, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Again, 10 trades. I'll just try to go over it one at a time. And again, the beginning of the week was Monday the 28th. I was trading, I believe, the whole week. Yeah, I think I traded once every single day. That's what it seems like. Let's start with the 28th. PHIL was a morning panic bounce play. Did the setup work? I put a big yes. Did I trade it well? Yes. Held better. More room for improvement. So let's look at PHIL for the 28th. Right here. Right about here. Looks like a first red day after these two green days. Looks like we had a big red day here, and it just started to come back, and then it had a drop here. Let's look at the 28th right here, which is right, actually, that's the 29th. The 28th is further back. Say from right about here, the 28th, and my entry was 937 133, so 937 133 right here. So right after this big red candle, max volume candle, this pretty like at this point is very blatant, you know, very easy for me to get in a trade, at least you know, last week, for it to just downtrend. Looks like the downtrend was nice from 15 to 13, so it's not that bad in terms of range. I bought in this candle 133, which was right here, so I bought right here 937, you know, right after that big volume candle. Obviously a lot of room for profit, and I sold 939. I held for 2 minutes, which is better than like 30 seconds, which was a huge issue, but I still have a lot to continue working on. And I sold at 939 again, 137, so 939 right here, 137, so I sold right here. Clearly I saw some kind of wall of sellers, and it kind of bounced back and forth for these 3 candles. Eventually it broke through, volume kept fading, broke VWAP. This would have been the ideal level to sell, 141, and then anything past this is really just gravy. So obviously could have improved. I bought here and I sold here at 137. Again, I bought at 133. Obviously a lot of room for improvement. Could have totally sold at VWAP. Sometimes, you know, it just kind of struggles and then it downtrends some more, so I was avoiding that. I could have perhaps maybe sold half and then held the other half for you know, to see if it could do more. But anyway, yeah, not a bad trade compared to what I used to do previously. I used to trade these pretty badly. I'm still not anywhere where I want to be, but it's still better, so I gotta be thankful to God for that, because this is, I find trading to be fun but very hard at the same time. And out of curiosity, 141, right, that would have been a 6%, 40 bucks. That would have been super nice. I just have to keep getting better, you know. 137, yeah, good try, you know, good try, definitely a good try. Yep, it did reach VWAP. Let's look at the next one, 628. I know I have this called OTC long, but now I combine all of them in just one section. Might not be a good idea. I don't know. I like having them all together. Looks like I traded Wish twice. Let's look at Wish. And this was a 15-day high breakout. Wish for the 28th. So let's go look at Wish for the 28th. Now the thing with Wish was that I was going for that breakout over the 15-day high, which was $15. As you can see, it tried here. It had that wick. It got as high as 15.13. This was the level to break, and it just didn't do it this day. Now, did it do it eventually? It looks like it's a no, because it's at 11 bucks. Well, let's go ahead and look at the 28th for Wish, which was right here. As you can tell, there's a lot of volatility, at least for a 15-ish, $14-ish stock. and I was buying at 14.91. See the small position sizes because I knew it was speculative. 14.91, 10.14. So let's look at 10.14 right back here. 10.14 and then 14.91. So right about here, you know, in this candle I bought 10.14, 14.91. You know, just trying to go for that breakout. Nice run past 15. Clearly didn't happen there. I sold at 14.93. So I made a tiny amount. I sold the next minute 10.15, which was back here, you know, at 9.3. So I sold near the top. It just wasn't working out. Too much topping action, too many sellers, you know, at 15. After all, you know, this thing does not have a good history. It was previously $30 just, you know, at the beginning of the year. So yeah, just a lot of sellers. There might also be short sellers. I tried right here, in and out, just didn't work out. Next one was at 10.24, 10.25. Here I sold for break even. So let's just look at 14.99, 10.24, 10.25, which was, I believe, right here. Yep, 10.24, 10.25. Just tried again for that breakout. It is higher than this range right here, but it didn't work. And I even called it when it was trading back here that this could be a head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, and then shoulder, kind of cracked, went towards VWAP. I was going for this inverse head and shoulders here, but it kind of spiked too quickly, kind of consolidated, did one more dip towards VWAP, and then it eventually ran forward. So my timing was just off that it did it here and it came back. It was a stutter. It ultimately did it, but you know, it's a bit ugly. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Still not that much range. It just wasn't able to stay above 15. It didn't create the short squeeze. It didn't create a big run up with momentum buyers. None of that happened. So, you know, it didn't work out, but it was a very good attempt. Yep, both of these did not work out. It was a good try. The 29th PHIL again for another morning panic bounce play. So let's look at that. 29th, which was right back here. One more. Okay, so a green candle, clearly some kind of a gap down. You know, did it get to the bottom of the wick? I'm not sure, but let's look at the 29th for PHIL, which was right here. Okay, this is clearly a big bounce. Not exactly the same because it was a gap down, but you know, it had that nice run up looking now in hindsight from 78 to 118. So that's a lot of range. This was the initial morning panic bounce play for PHIL. I got in at 80, 934. So let's look at 80, 934. Right here, this red candle at the bottom, risked 80. Why? Maybe because it's, I don't know, I guess I was just risking the day low, which at that time was 78, 934. I'm kind of surprised I got into this one, but I guess it's because I had that gap down, and there was still some downtrending action right here. Again, in at 80, 934, and I sold at 86, 937. So 937, 86, right here. So slightly at the very top of this candle, actually. So I bought here, sold here. I like this because I sold above VWAP. I was able to hold for that. It wasn't too clean because I bought at 934 and then the big volume candle was here, 935. That's always a bit sketchy, but no, this one worked out. I sold at 86. Again, past VWAP. This was a nice in terms of percent gain. And looking back, it looks like it went past it, went under VWAP again. I've seen this before. I should have traded here. I'm sure I remember now talking about it. You know, it totally was just, it threw me off because of this big green candle, but I definitely regret not getting into this higher low setup because it clearly made a nice move from 84 to that 118. But this first move right here, this first trade, that was pretty good. So yeah, morning panic bounce play. I did well selling at the VWAP. Could have held longer. I think this one was fine, really. I did fine holding. I mean, sure I could have waited here and then maybe sell after some downtrending, but I don't mind that sell at all. But I do regret not getting into the trade right here when it put up this higher low. Could have gone in at maybe 83 and then I could have risked the low, which would have been 82. You know, it clearly worked out there. Hindsight is 20/20, but you know, that's another bit of experience that will be helpful for me. The 30th, HPIL number 5, higher low. So this is exactly what I was going for, not the initial panic, but the higher low. Let's look at HPIL for the 30th. Right here, it's the first red day after a green day. Had a gap, had a gap down that day, so a bit scary, but I don't know. Let's see how it looked then and there at the 30th, which was right here, the 30th. And yeah, this was the higher low setup, which was right here. And to be specific, I bought 10.06 and I sold 10.07, so 87 break even basically. So 10.06 was right here, 87, and then 87. I just didn't like the price action. This thing I felt like was taking too long for it to work. At the same time, VWAP isn't that nice. 87, and then you sell at, you know, 90. That's not really that much range, so I probably shouldn't have really picked this setup, but some of these do work very nicely. I just don't like how VWAP was so close to the range. Obviously failed eventually, but I got in and out because I didn't like the price action. I think that was an okay attempt, maybe not the best setup, and I did put no as in did the setup work or not, but hey, that's totally fine. I'll be back. I gotta do something. Alright, I'm back. The next trade was PHIL, the same day, the 30th, and this was a lower low. So, you know, this one was a higher low. It had that morning panic bottom, you know, a higher low, and now let's look at the lower low for PHIL. Very similar stocks, similar names, pretty crazy, but, you know, very nice as well. Here's the 30th right here, just a random red day, to be honest, not really that crazy in terms of volatility, but let's take a look. It clearly had a panic, and yeah, this was a lower low, so we had that panic right here. This isn't perfect, by the way, because they had all of this consolidation up here, but panicked, you know, in theory, got towards VWAP right here, 9.7, I guess 9.2 to 9.7, but it wasn't a clean setup. I didn't trade it for that reason. No big volume candle. So then here's a lower low. I got somewhere inside there, and I traded it 15, I got out 18, so held it for 3 minutes, and I got in 92, sold at 91. So 15 was back here, right here, and I bought the ask 92. 18 is right here, and I sold at 91. You know, just a tiny loss, you know, just didn't like the price action. Had I have risked this level at 90, which was a low of that range, sure, it would have worked out, but would I have really held from 10, you know, 15 give or take until 11? That was a whole hour, and it traded forever like this. I wouldn't have mind, you know, cutting it for that reason, even though it worked out here. I could have considered it here when it started an uptrend, but then again, VWAP is that close to this. You know, VWAP is 9.4, right here 9.2. If you buy the ask 9.2 and you risk, you know, 91, I mean, come on, is that really? You risk 3-to-1 risk reward, so you're going for at least 95, right above VWAP. I mean, it's just not really a good setup, but I guess a good attempt nonetheless. Did an uptrend later in the day. It seems like it didn't. It just wasn't really that nice. So yeah, just not the best trade, but I guess a good attempt, because, you know, PHIL worked out super nicely. What was it, a higher low? So it was fine that I was trying these. Why not? WSRC for the first. Yeah, just need to keep working on picking better setups probably, but they were good attempts nonetheless. WSRC for the first, which is right here, big, not that big, but a red candle nonetheless. Nice uptrend. So let's take a look at WSRC. This was a morning panic bounce play. Did it work? I put kinda. So let's go ahead and see. Right here, morning panic bounce play, and the first I got in at 9.33, 35.73. So let's get to the first, which was right here. I guess we'll do it from here. Why not? So, you know, it kind of had like a gap down, and I got it at 933, 37.53, I believe. Right? What was it? 35.73. So 35.73. So right about here. Yeah, right about there. Not bad for 933, just near the bottom of the range. I remember now. I did not like how little range there really was. This one was worse, even though it traded with a bit more range in terms of the volatility. The VWAP was right there. So as soon as I got in the trade, I realized that there wasn't really that much range. I sold at 36.92, which was a 3% move. So, you know, it was a good attempt, but you know, the setup wasn't really there because there really wasn't that much range. It eventually downtrended a bit more, and I'll be back. I gotta do something else, but that was a good attempt. Alright, I'm back, and just 3 more trades. HPIL, LWLG, and HPIL again. So let's look at HPIL for July 1st, which was a morning panic bounce play that did not work out. So let's look at July 1st, HPIL, right about here, July 1st, which was just back here, just another follow-up red day, although I did have a nice wick. You know, in that sense, excuse me, my throat. Let's go ahead and take a look for the first, which was, I guess I'll just highlight right here. Why not? And I was in at 938.73, and I sold 942. So let's just look at 938.73. So right about here, 938, and I got in at 73, which I guess was the middle of the range right here. And yeah, I guess it was the ask, basically hitting the ask, although here I had a little more room. And why? I guess because right here was that big volume candle, 37, right? So I thought, okay, this could be it, although clearly now the VWAP was just not, you know, it was just showing that there just wasn't much range, at least in theory. There might not be a lot of range potential. 7.4 to 7.3. I mean, sure, it can uptrend past VWAP, but here it kind of shows that this wasn't really a perfect setup. And I sold at 942 at 7.25. 942 was right here. 7.25. So yeah, it's clearly cracking this range right here because it's not able to hold this 7.2 level. I sold at 7.25, which wasn't bad at all. That was actually a pretty good entry. Wasn't working out. I mean, clearly, you know, maybe hindsight is 20/20, but look at the VWAP. It just isn't that much range. I guess it was a good attempt, but I probably should look at other setups, you know, than maybe doing stuff like this. I guess it could be a learning experience, but that's about it. Clearly didn't work out. I got as low as 6.6 from that level, and it didn't seem like it was going to work out, you know, eventually later that day anyway. Yeah, so that was the case with that. There just wasn't much range. Didn't work out, you know. That was definitely an L. Although I did great cutting losses quickly right there. I wasn't able to sell for break even like I was with these two. So that's totally fine. You know, could just focus on getting better setups. I guess I do deserve that D, but you know, at the same time, it's not really that bad. Just trying a bunch of things. LWLG was the first, and that was a morning panic bounce play. That pump finally gave up. You can see right here, I mean, this thing was $1. And then let's go to the first, which was, you know, actual first red day right here. Sure, we had a red day here, but this was like a big red day in terms of range. Just really nice. Let's look at the first, which is back here. Sure, let's go ahead and highlight from there. And I got into the setup work I put eventually. LWLG, I got it. This was sketchy because, you know, I had to trade $1,000 position because of the fact that this thing is priced higher, and I don't want to trade 50 shares. You know, that might be hard for execution, so I traded 100 shares. I got in at 10.08. 11.10.5, so 10.08, which was back here, and then 11.10.5, so right about here. You know, very cautious. I think I avoided trading this not yesterday, but yesterday from this day. No clear big volume candle, but these two were kind of big. So even if it wasn't something like this, which was clearly the big volume candle, this is the one that kind of downtrended below 10 just a little bit, had this big volume candle, held through, and it just made that nice run up. I've said that a few times in the videos that I made. Great learning lesson there. Clearly good range with VWAP right here at 10, and then VWAP is you know, at that time it was at 11, so that would have been 10%, which really isn't that bad at all, and it did get higher. It got to 12. But anyway, yeah, this was a trade right here. Just sold for a tiny profit. It did get as high as 11.37, so there was range, and I put eventually, because even though it didn't work here, it did work down here. Just two more leg downs, and that was right here where you could have really loaded up with a lot of size. I mean, this thing would have been pretty profitable. Higher lows, you know, if I can actually push myself to hold a setup that long, that would be very impressive. But clearly the more I see these things, the better, at least in theory, I can get. So I'll just have to keep working towards it. But that was a good trade, good attempt. Small percent gain, just a small profit, because I didn't like how it was trading. And yeah, I mean, I did fine because the price action was bad. It was bad, but it did work eventually, and that it was that nice move from 10 to as high as, what was it, 12 at some point. So that one was pretty nice. And the last trade, HPIL number 5, setup higher low, so not the initial panic, but the one after it, which was a higher low. Let's look at the second for HPIL. Right here, the second, which was right about next one. Right here, so just another red day. Okay, doesn't look, you know, too clean in terms of a morning panic bounce play, but a lot of these offer range, because, you know, here is 7.7, the lowest is 6.2. I guess not that much, but let's go ahead and see how it looked then and there at the second, which was right here. So yeah, I had that panic. It wasn't really that perfect, clearly, but I bought 10.14, I sold 10.16. So 10.14, 6.435, 10.14, right? Yep, almost 10.15. So here was the initial, you know, panic in theory, and then I got in here 10.14 and 6.435, right? Right, 6.4, yeah, 6.435 here, 10.14, 6.435. So give or take near the bottom of the range. It was basically 6.4, which was at the bottom. That was a pretty good execution, and I sold at 16 for a slight profit at 6.5. 16 was right here, 6.5. So I sold here, but clearly 2 minutes later, you know, after those 2 minutes, it had that run towards VWAP at 6.8. Sure, I could have held a lot better. Might have been a little iffy because the volume kind of uptrended here. It got a little higher. I could have totally have held though. Let me just put 6.8 just to see what that would have been. Right, 6.8. Yeah, that would have been 5%. So, you know, and that wasn't even the top, of course, because VWAP, you know, was right here. I mean, it did run even more, but I don't know if I would have held that long. Good attempt nonetheless, I think. You know, a lot of these I go for 10.30. I've seen that 10.30 is the top. This one was a bit later at 11, but I've seen a lot of these put up, you know, the panic, higher low, or the lower low, and then it makes a run towards the peak at 10.30. From there, it can keep uptrending, or maybe that's the top for the whole morning. This one was a bit later again at 11, so it was still a good attempt. But here, even at 10.30, right, could have been selling into that VWAP, which would have been that much more profitable. Again, that would have, I guess it doesn't have it saved anymore. Oh yeah, there it is. That would have been, you know, almost 6%. So yeah, that's all I got. Seems like I have a lot of setups that I need to keep working on. I need to hold better some of these reach VWAP, and I didn't sell at VWAP. As long as I can see that, you know, as long as I'm going to continue trading with $500 give or take position sizes. If I can see myself just a higher percentage, maybe 2 or 3%, you know, when I'm trading better, I'm holding better, I'm cutting, you know, when I need to cut to, you know, God willing, and with a lot of effort, if I can just see an improvement, I'll consider trading a larger size. But for now, I think it's fine trading tiny $500 position. $60 isn't gonna, you know, that's not, I'm not trying to change careers for $60 a week. Of course I want to trade larger, but I don't see the problem just trading, you know, $500. Even shows right here $500 position size. Is just trying to be as consistent as I can, trying to be as good as I can. I got a whole week now, and I'll just keep trying, but I feel like I'm getting better little by little, but I do need to keep getting better. I do like how I have a 3% gain here, a 6, and another 3. And then on my losers, they were small. I want to see even more range and pick better setups too. So clearly a lot of things to work on, but I'm thankful that I am seeing just even the smallest improvements, which is really good. I just have to keep going, and God willing, I can try trading larger position sizes. Maybe I'll even do it this week, but I clearly have to get better, picking better trading setups, and also trying to sell towards VWAP a lot more.